Welcome and thank you for tuning in to the second quarter go-to-market strategy for the Southwest region. This is our opportunity to communicate our regional plan for the quarter and a great chance for you and your team to really get aligned with what we're going to do, how we're going to go to market, and how we're going to get the job done for the quarter. With me, I've got three people that I want to introduce. First, Alan Taylor from Ford Credit. Alan, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Dave.
To my left, I've got Michelle Bartlett, our Regional Marketing Manager. Michelle, great to have you here.
Thanks, Dave.
And then to the left of Michelle, we've got Mike O'Brien, who's our General Zone Manager. Mike, great to have you here.
Great, thanks, Dave.
All right, everybody's looking buttoned up and dapper up here, so we're ready to go today. Well, let's start off by talking about our first quarter results. I'd like to share the results, and then we'll take you through what our plan is for the second quarter. The first quarter results start with selling 48,000 units. That's combined retail, car, and truck for the region. This is actually a very strong performance for us. We were down 3% in the first quarter, but the nation was down 8%, so we outperformed the nation by 5 full percentage points. We were basically down 1,500 units year over year, and it was all F-Series. Half of those were Super Duties, and that was mostly due to availability. The other half was F-150, and that's really due to some softening in the market, but we've got to strengthen our position as we go forward, and we will rekindle those 1,500 units as we go through the rest of this year, and our plan is to start picking those up in the second quarter. Our share of nation grew from 13% to 14% last quarter. That's a huge improvement. So we represent basically 14 out of every 100 units that are sold across the nation for Ford Motor Company. Defending full-size F-Series sales and share in the marketplace is a key initiative for us, and our F-Series share of the nation grew to 21% last quarter. Our 250 share of nation grew to 18% of the nation last quarter. And in total, we're 20% of the F-150 to 550 business. So 20 out of every 100 F-Series that are sold in the country in the first quarter were sold in the Southwest market. That's a huge accomplishment, and it's a huge statement with regard to our size and might in the full-size truck arena. Dealer profitability, great news on this front. Through February, we were up 24% in dealer profitability. 24%, that's a huge movement for us considering we were up 27% last year. The truck stair step, we paid out $17 million to our dealers, and the first quarter sales drive was almost $8 million. So in total, when we wrap up first quarter profits, we're going to be in a very strong position on a year-over-year basis. Growing leasing, we've got to get to 18%, and the Ford Credit is here, and Alan's going to talk about that. They are committed to getting our business to 18%. We're at 8% right now. And that 10% incremental business is something that we need to go after. And we need to work together to drive stronger penetration with RCL, which ultimately works out in everyone's favor as the trade cycle is 50% less than a retail contract. So we've got to get people on a regular trade cycle that gets them in 36, 39 months and forces them back into your dealership to trade in their vehicle. And this is the property to do that with. Integration of our Be Big events, well, we're going to continue to do that in the second quarter. We've got our Be Big event that Michelle will talk to you about that'll take us through the May-June time period, and we're going to launch cooperative advertising for our dealers to tie in at the retail level, and then we've got great incentive plans to help drive through the retail message for our dealers as well. And then bold leadership in the market, that's basically talking to the launch of our new products. And the fact is we've got to take advantage and leverage all of the great exposure events that we have throughout the state with the Houston Livestock and Rodeo events, the sales rallies, the auto shows, all of the great events that we have throughout the state of Texas and Oklahoma. If you look at our retail sales trends, we've had a positive trend with growth every month this year. January to February, up 34%. February to March, up 46%. And the key here is how we perform versus the nation. Our growth from January to February was 18 points better than the nation. Our growth from February to March was 12 points better than the nation. So that's the end of the first quarter sales trend, and that's some of the performance we had in the first quarter. Where are we going now in the second quarter? This is more relevant to what's important now. Let's take a look at our objective in the second quarter. First, 53,000 units. That's the same volume we did last year. We've got to hold that volume at a minimum, if not grow it a little bit on full-size trucks, because we do have to make up those 1,500 F-Series units. In April, we need to deliver 17,000 units, and there's no more important month than us this year. March was important, but April is even more important because we've got to demonstrate that we can come off a stair step and not pay it all back in the month after. And so April, it's critical that we deliver our overall objective for the region, and we deliver these 17,000 units to demonstrate the strength of running with a stair step and without a stair step what it'll do to our overall business. And the fact is that it'll grow share, it'll grow profit, and it'll grow sales volume for us in the region, and it will help the company in total if we can do it successfully. And this is the month to prove that. The May and June objectives are basically 36,000 units, split in half at 18 Gs apiece. When we look at defending full-size sales and share for F-Series, that means selling 30,000 F-Series in the second quarter. That's quite a task. We've got programs to help you deliver that volume. That's maintaining share of 35% of segment and maintaining our leadership over Chevrolet. Improved dealer profitability. In the second quarter, don't think that we don't have a dealer cash program, because we do have a dealer cash program. As a matter of fact, we have a bunch of dealer cash programs. But first and foremost, we have the second quarter sales drive, and we're anticipating payout of $10 million in the second quarter on this sales drive. And we need to make sure that we get our unfair share of the total pot and continue to deliver great results for this region financially through this program. 67% of our sales volume is included in this program. So we have the opportunity, and you have the opportunity, to make up to $400 on 67% of your volume. So we need to take advantage of it, leverage it. It's on Fusion, Edge, Explorer, Sport Track, F-150, and Super Duty. Those are all included in the program, and those are all playing to our strengths in the Southwest market. We have to grow leasing to 18%. We're at 8% now, and Alan's going to talk to you more about that in a few minutes. Integration of big events, I mentioned that before, and bold leadership with regard to launches. Finally, I'd like to talk about the association alliances, and I'll talk very high level on this. As most of you know, we announced a 10-year extension of the Cowboy contract that takes us through 2018. This is huge for us because we are going to be able to leverage this relationship in a bigger, more prominent way than we ever have before. We also are the title sponsor of the Built Ford Tough Dallas Cowboy Training Camp that'll be held in San Antonio, and that will be based out of San Antonio the second half of July through the first half of August. We'll be there on site with an NFL type experience at the Alamo Dome with the Cowboys, brought to you by Ford and its dealers. So we're excited about that, and it'll be heavily broadcasted and telecast throughout the state of Texas and Oklahoma, all where we all have great following for the Cowboys and great allegiance to the Ford brand. We'll take our relationship with the Cowboys to another level by co-sponsoring the Built Ford Tough High School Player of the Week with the Cowboys next year as well. And that'll help us leverage from a media position our relationship with the Cowboys and this great initiative that we have at the high school level with the football players. This is going to be taken, actually we're going to talk more about it later, but it's going to be taken to an all-new level with Coach Wade Phillips being the spokesperson for the Cowboy, who, as you know, was a high school football coach here in Orange, Texas, and that's where he got his start. So he has a lot of roots in the high school football arena. He's got a lot of credibility, and his message will help cascade to all the communities as we talk about this program in a much bigger way this year in the 2007 calendar year. Additionally, we're going to have broadcasts where they do the game highlights. They'll devote 5 minutes on that telecast to talk about this program, and we're going to have an hour syndicated radio show every Sunday that talks and interviews the players, the coaches, and our dealers who give out the awards. So we're very excited about this initiative. Two other events that are big this month. First, the Alameda Museum his grand opening in San Antonio on the 12th, and that's a branch of the Smithsonian, and Ford is the title sponsor of that. And we will have the Ford brand and the Ford Oval on that building year-round, and is a great opportunity for us to give something back to the community in San Antonio. Additionally, in May, we have a Professional Bull Rider Association event in San Antonio where Ford is the title sponsor, and we have given 8,000 tickets to the military bases in San Antonio. So again, bridging our relationship, bridging our gap, building the image in the name and recognition of the Ford brand throughout the region. Salute to education. We've got a number of stops, and this is a great initiative that's grassroots between our dealers, our FDFs, and the company to reach out and help underprivileged people in the community, and we get great exposure on that. Those are some of the Association Alliance events that we have. As we look at the third quarter, we've got all the great state fairs that'll be happening, all the great sporting events that'll be happening, and our goal, and Michelle's goal, is going to be to further activate those events, to drive traffic to the dealerships and drive more retail traffic than we have before. And we'll talk more about those plans as we talk about the third quarter plan. But right now, let's stay focused on the second quarter plan, and let me turn it over to Michelle to take you through what we're going to do. Michelle?
Great. Thanks, Dave. Let's talk about April, because we're 6 days into the month right now. And our strategy, our marketing strategy, is to leverage the Ford Challenge nationally created spots and our own Best in Texas, Best in Oklahoma to sell those 17,000 retail units in April that Dave spoke about earlier. Our Tier 2 media spend from a regional perspective is $8.4 million. And to give you a flavor for what the nation's spending at Tier 1, it's about $16 million. Our Tier 2 creative, all of our 8 FDAFs will be running some combination of the nationally created Ford Challenge spots like Fusion, Expedition, and the F-150 featuring Mike Rowe, and our own Best in Texas, Best in Oklahoma regional spots. We've got an Expedition spot, an SUV family spot, which has worked very well for us, as well as some Toby Keith standalone F-150 and standalone Super Duty spots. From an advertising rotation perspective, we're running about 60% truck, 25% SUV, and 15% car, as you would imagine. We're obviously very heavy truck. Our featured vehicle and incentives on the F-150 Super Crew Texas Oklahoma edition, we're running a $5,000 total savings message or 0 for 60. The $5,000 total savings message is made up of $3,000 customer cash and $2,000 in package savings. On the Texas Oklahoma Expedition, we're running a $349 a month, 39-month RCL, that's with $1,825 down. Or from a customer cash perspective, you've got $2,000 customer cash or $3,900 for 60. Finally, on the Fusion, we continue to support the $249 sign and drive, which has been a terrific message for us. On a customer cash basis, you've got $1,000 customer cash or $2,900 for 60 on the Fusion. Now, exclusive to the Southwest for April, we've added $1,000 Ford Credit bonus cash on Explorer and Sport Track, which takes your total cash to $3,000 or $1,900 for 60 on both vehicles. So we think that's a terrific add, as well as a strong lineup of SUV lease payments to go with that SUV family ad I talked about earlier. You've got a $249 payment on Escape, $299 payment on Explorer, and finally a $349 payment on Expedition, an outstanding lineup of lease payments on our family of SUVs. Other key incentives, I know you've probably already seen the announcement, but we've got the Progressive Dealer Cash program on 500 and Freestyle. I would tell you, as a testament to our dealer council reps here locally as well as the dealer council in total, X-Plan is now a counter and a payer on this Progressive Dealer Cash program, as well as Frax units are now eligible as counters and payers. We also have spins on Fusion, F-150, and Expedition, and you'll all be happy to know that Wild Wednesdays will continue through the month of April. Now let's move on and talk a little bit about and give you a sneak peek at May and June. Our strategy here is to leverage Ford Challenge to sell the 36,000 units that Dave mentioned earlier. The advertising is going to be focused on customers getting more value for their money. And we are going to utilize no-charge packages. We're going to feature no-charge packages in our advertising, like Escape Sun and Satellite and Mustang no-charge pony package. Our regional Tier 2 spend will be $18 million over the 2-month period. Again, we're going to be using a blend of nationally created Tier 2 as well as our own regional creative for the 2-month period. From a national perspective, they are creating an Escape no-charge Sun and Satellite ad, a Mustang V6 no-charge pony package. F-150, the nation will be featuring Mike Rowe. There will also be Fusion and Edge that will be nationally created spots. From a regional perspective, these ads are still under development, but there will be an umbrella event ad as well as individual vehicle line ads like F-150, Super Duty, and SUV family. From a rotation basis, it really doesn't change from what we've been doing, which is 60% truck, 25% SUV, and 15% car. Now let's move into what the featured vehicles will be as well as planned incentives. And I put a big caveat on that. We are still working through the details and firming up our incentives on specifically F-150, but let me take you through it. Mustang V6, the message is going to be $1,750 total savings. That's $1,000 customer cash with a $750 no-charge pony package. On the 08 Escape, you've got $1,045 in total savings, $500 customer cash, plus $545 no-charge Sun and Satellite. And for those particular vehicles that don't have the Pony or the Sun and Satellite package, you do get that, the $750 and the $545 as bonus cash. On the F-150, our goal is to have a $6,000 total savings message, or 0 for 60 plus $1,000 in Ford credit bonus cash. The $6,000, how we would get to the $6,000 message, $3,000 customer cash, plus $2,000 in package savings, plus $1,000 in Ford credit bonus cash. As I said, we are still working toward that. We don't have that finalized, but more to come. That's our goal. Planned incentives exclusive to the Southwest for the May-June event. We do plan to enhance customer cash on Expedition, Explorer, 500, and Freestyle by $500, which gets the total cash to $3,000 on each one of those vehicles. As Dave alluded, we are also launching Tier 3 Co-op. We're going to launch again $1 million for print co-op. And we've added a little process improvement. Those payments will now be made to the dealer payment statement, and that was effective in the first quarter. One new initiative that we're very pleased about is our Hispanic Co-op program. We are going to be launching this program within the next 2 weeks. We have earmarked $500,000 purely dedicated to support Hispanic Co-op. Hispanic Co-op is obviously designed to drive traffic and generate Hispanic sales leads at the local level within your dealer trade area. We obviously have a lot of meat to put on this program, but we do have a framework, and part of that is administration. We are leveraging a relationship with Fleshman Hillard that will administer this program for us. Events can be proposed by you, the dealer, or selected on a list that Fleshman Hillard will provide. We do have some guidelines. Co-op can be used to support Tier 3 advertising. How this differs from our normal Tier 3 co-op is that this co-op can also be used for grassroots initiatives in your Hispanic communities. Each initiative must be approved by Fleshman Hillard, and if necessary, Fleshman Hillard can provide counsel and advice on where these events are taking place. We will have a requirement, however, that vehicle displays and staffing must be appropriate. Obviously, we want Hispanic sales consultants at these events. And as I said, more details to come next week or the week after as we launch this very important initiative here in the Southwest. Another very exciting element of our plan is the launch of this year's Sales Top Achiever Recognition Program, or as we call it, the STAR program. The program period is January 3rd of this year through January 2nd of 2008. You can see the criteria on the screen. 1 star sales consultant per dealership, and for our top 60 volume dealerships, they would elect to send 2 people. And we are going to have our very upscale event next year as well, where we have all the sales consultants come in and we treat them to a lovely evening at the Gaylord Texan. And before I turn it back over to Dave, let's roll a clip from this year's event.
One, two, and wait, hang on a second. 1, 2, and 3. Look up here at me. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 2, and 3. Very nice. Step around the outside.
For me, perfect right there, perfect right here.
The camera shows me double.
There you go. Hey, pretty good. fiance, Kimberly. See, Brandon, this could have been you. This could have
It
been
could
you.
have been you, but it wasn't.
Absorb that one.
Is he winning?
He won. It's on the video, right?
I'm a winner.
We'll cash in for tickets.
Well, good luck. I hope you do win.
We're
I wanna
winners. We're
win.
going to
You
go
just
try to
won.
win something.
Okay.
Be taking it home with the motorcycle number 2. We have number 292, 852, 292, 85. Woohoo! We got a Harley winner over here. Take it away, fellas.
Well, it started off right, this big and night. Deep in the heart of Texas. Everybody gonna be driving.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. That was a great clip, and that was an outstanding event. I know I've heard from a lot of you, a lot of your sales consultants, and a lot of your managers about that program. It was a huge success last year, and it's about building morale and thanking our sales consultants, who are really the people that are on the front line for Ford Motor Company at the retail level. And we do appreciate everything that they do for us every day. And it's our opportunity on an annual basis now to bring them together and to thank them at a very special event with them and their spouse. So great job to the marketing team. Michelle, great job, and that's a great clip. To summarize what Michelle just said, I'm not going to go through everything, but the one takeaway to me is we have a plan, a great plan. We're going to work the plan, and working together, we will deliver the sales, the share, and the profitability results as a team. So I'm excited. Michelle's laid out a great plan, and now we need help from our other partner at Ford Credit to help deliver the sales. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alan Taylor to talk about the Ford Credit initiatives. Alan?
Okay, thank you, Dave, and thanks for having me. We're counting on a huge second quarter at Ford Credit, and to really continue the momentum that started in mid-February and then carried through the end of March with a great close to truck month. To that end, we've set some very aggressive objectives for the second quarter in the Southwest market and the South Central region. Number one, we want to purchase 60% of your new non-fleet sales. We want 6 out of 10 of your sales to come to us on a Ford Credit contract. We've tied our contract volume objective into the sales objective for Dave and Michelle, which is 53,000 units for the quarter, which means 31,800 new contracts for Ford Credit in the Southwest market. And as you can see by the slide, we've assigned each individual territory and a new contract volume objective that rolls up to the 31,800 unit number for the region. For example, in Houston, we've got one territory in Houston now under Kurt Lauer. He's got an objective of 6,200 new contracts for the month. And our message to the branches is, if you hit your number, the region is going to hit their number, and then Dave and Michelle will hit their number for the quarter. Okay, I'd like to touch on our RCO transition plan that's going to take place in the month of April. As you know, we've had a red carpet lease and FlexBuy training blitz in the first quarter this year. Your branches have been out to aggressively train you on these two products that are going to fill the void of red carpet option when subvention ends at the end of this month. Part of the plan is to have a 150 basis point uprate on RCO over the RCL subvened rate for the month. Subvention will end completely on April 30th. And after April 30th, Ford Credit will continue to offer a standard rate retail balloon contract on a national basis in the event that some of your customers want to continue on a retail balloon finance product. And in order to fill the void of red carpet option, we've got two great finance products that we believe will more than do that. The first one is red carpet lease. We've set a very aggressive mix target on red carpet lease of 18% of new vehicle sales among our Ford dealers in 2007. And what that means is we'd like 1 out of every 5 new vehicle sales to be written on a red carpet lease contract in the Southwest market this year. The benefits of red carpet lease are numerous. Some of the top benefits are customer loyalty. 80% of our lease customers are going to return to us on their subsequent purchase versus 56 on a retail contract. And that 24-point gap is huge for corporate profitability and dealership profitability. Returning customers and repeat customers are much less expensive for us to retain than a customer that's driving a different make or model. Shorter trade cycles, we talk about that constantly. Lease customers will be back to us in 24 or 36 months or 39 months depending on the program, and they won't be upside down in their vehicle, so you won't have to deal with the negative equity on their trade-in. F&I profit is somewhat of a well-kept secret, F&I managers can mark up a Savine lease rate 2.5 points versus a retail contract that can't be marked up at all, and you earn a small flat. So there is significant F&I profit opportunity on a lease. Gap coverage is built into the product versus a retail where you have to actually sell the customer on gap coverage. Wear care is an easy sell on a lease. We've had a lot of success in this region of selling wear care because we will waive the security deposit if wear care is included on the lease contract. We're running it at about 50% in this region. We're waiving security deposits on a number of key vehicles in the second quarter, effective April 1. And then as far as training goes, the feedback that I've gotten from our branch territories is that our dealers are very well trained. We've had a training blitz in the first quarter, and our dealers are equipped and trained to run, lease, and flex buy contracts, which I'll talk about in a minute. And if you need any more training or if you feel like you've got some new personnel in your dealership that aren't quite up to speed on leasing and flex buy, please contact your dealer account manager, and we'll be out immediately to fill in the gaps in your training. There's some additional incentives in the second quarter to lease customers. We're putting $300 dealer cash on every lease contract. Sales consultants can earn a spend of $75 to $500. And then we're also paying F&I managers and sales managers a $50 flat pay throughout the second quarter on red carpet lease. The next product I'd like to talk about is FlexBuy, and we've got a lot of momentum on this product, especially in truck month. We ended the month of March at 40% of the nation on FlexBuy volume. It was a record month for Ford Credit. We wrote 801 FlexBuy contracts in the South Central region, which was a record for the South Central. We've got a number of dealers throughout the region and throughout the Southwest market in pockets that have really jumped on board with FlexBuy, and they're finding that it's a competitive advantage for their dealership and for us versus the competition. Your initial payments are going to be about 15% less than a 60-month payment on a FlexBuy. That's for the first 36, and then after month 36, your payments will go up to a more comparable payment amount to a 60-month retail. The competitive advantage is that no other captive offers this type of product. No other captive has an uneven retail payment product out there other than Ford Credit. GMAC doesn't have it, Toyota doesn't have it, so it is a huge advantage for Ford Credit and Ford Motor and our dealers over the competition. It is a retail contract. The customer's name's on the title. There's no residual value, there's no lease-in value, there's no termination process. And then we've also got our CRM team and our marketing team in Detroit honed in on this product, and they're targeting these customers at month 30 prior to their payments increasing with invoice messages, with direct mailers, with invoice inserts, reminding customers that their payments are going to go up in a couple months, and encouraging these customers to trade in their vehicle prior to their payments increasing. So we are treating it as more of a trade cycle product, even if there is no termination process. As far as training goes, our branches feel like our dealers are comfortable with the FlexBuy product and the lease product. And again, if you need any additional training, please contact your dealer account manager immediately, and we'll get out there and fill in any gaps in your training. There's also some additional incentives to write FlexBuy contracts in the second quarter, similar to lease. There's sales consultant spends up to $500, a $50 F&I manager and sales manager flat pays on FlexBuy contracts through the end of the second quarter. Now the last slide is a simple payment comparison between our three main products, a 60-month retail, a FlexBuy contract, and a 39-month lease. And we've lined out some of our key vehicles for the quarter side by side. For example, if you start with Super Crew at 0 for 60, we're at $442 a month. The FlexBuy payment drops about 15% over the first 36 months to $376. And then we've got some very strong 39-month lease payments in the market at $300 for Super Crew, $349 for Expedition, $299 for Explorer, and on down. And as you can see, the FlexBuy payment is an advantage over the 60-month retail by about 15% across the board. But in summary, please send us your lease business and your FlexBuy business in the second quarter, and thanks for your support over Truck Month.
Thank you, Alan. Great job. Notice that Greg's not here today. Alan told me that Greg had to go to an important dealer meeting, but Greg called me before the meeting, and I saw an area code pop up from Naples, Florida, so I'm sure it was a very important meeting as he sits on the 19th hole. So anyway, Greg, thanks for your support, and thanks for all of our friends at Ford Credit. You know, bottom line is, if you look at the support that they've given us, it's bar none the best in the industry. We closed last month, in the month of March, with 5,000 tickets on the last day. We had 5,000 sales tickets that went in, and that was basically a culmination of Friday, Saturday, and Monday's business, 5,000 units. more tickets we reported more tickets in one day than the Boston region, the Philadelphia region, the Twin Cities region, and the Northwest region sold all month. To put that in perspective again, we sent more tickets in one day than the whole Eastern Seaboard did the whole final week of the month of March, which was a big week. And we couldn't have done that without Ford Credit. Ford Credit represented, out of those 5,000 tickets that went the last day, 3,000 of those tickets were financed through Ford Credit. That's a huge accomplishment, and it's a huge commitment to our business. And they're committed very strongly at 60% of our retail share this quarter, with numerical numbers by branch that they're tracked against, we're tracked against, and we really appreciate their support. And they're a great partner, and I know you appreciate their business as well. So we've talked about the marketing plan with Michelle. We've talked about the finance plan with Alan. And now we need to talk about the production plan. And Mike O'Brien's the man to take us through that. Mike?
Great, thanks, Dave. Actually, the title of the category is production, but I'd kind of like to talk about 3 Ps, which is product, production, and partnership. And the partnership is the partnership you have with your zone managers working at a local level, and what are their marching orders for the coming quarter, okay? So with that, the first slide you're going to see is our focus vehicles for 2007. Many of you are familiar with these. Dave and Michelle have talked about them in the past. What these focus vehicles represent, they are essentially the traffic builders for your showroom. They're the brand builders for our primary brand, the Ford Blue Oval, and fundamentally for you and for us, they're our profit drivers. And they're critical in those regards. What does being a focus vehicle mean? It means this is where we're going to focus our resources. Our advertising resource, our incentive resource, and frankly, the priority on our production is going to be on these vehicles. So what you see on the slide is there's essentially 3 national focus vehicles. They account for about 2/3 of our business. It's Fusion, it's Edge, and it's F-Series. As you can see, our F-Series represents almost 60% of our business, and Dave and Michelle have emphasized how critical it is for us to be the path of most resistance in terms of defending our share there. But as Dave also mentioned earlier, Fusion is up 40% for the year, so we're doing a great job on the other focus vehicles as well. We also have 3 regional focus vehicles. They include Escape, Expedition, and Mustang. And we're doing a great job on these units for the first three months of the year as well. Escape is up almost 20%, Expedition is up almost 20%, and Mustang we've given a small amount of share back, but the product is strong. We've got some great enhancements coming as well, as Michelle mentioned with the second quarter incentives. Fundamentally, these regional focus vehicles are critical for profit and for volume to enhance the brand building that those first 3 national focus vehicles do for us. So just wanted to give you a reminder on how important those vehicles are. The next slide is really about production. And what it entails is, just last week, our zone managers finished their wholesale meetings with you at the local level. We were essentially wholesaling May production. But importantly, several vehicles were balancing out with 2 months of production, frankly finishing the 07 model year. And you see on the slide what those vehicles were. Key vehicles like Expedition, like Explorer and Sport Track, like the Hermosillo products, including Fusion, and the Focus 3 and 5-door. The great news is not only did the wholesale go very well in the meetings with the dealers, but the great news is that means the 08 product is on the way. We've got some really good enhancements to existing products coming in 08. Expedition, for example. The Southwest market is going to get their King Ranch on Expedition, and it's going to start producing in mid-June. Great news. The XLT on Expedition is going to get rid of the black plastic cladding that's currently on the vehicle, on the fascia, on the wheel lip moldings, and we're going to have body color on the XLT. Same thing's happening on Explorer. So we got great news in terms of the appearance enhancements of these products. In addition, you know the Focus. We're gonna the 3 and 5-door balanced out, and we're getting ready for the all-new Focus to come at the end of the summer. And the new Focus is going to be the 4-door sedan as well as a 3-door coupe. So our conventional 3 and 5-door offerings, this is it. So those customers that you have, that you know they need the flexibility of the hatchback, they like the exterior design, this is the time to sell those customers as well. We're also going to be coming at the end of this month with our May wholesale, and the May wholesale essentially is our June production. For us, the big news at these meetings that you're going to have with your zone managers is F-150. That will be balanced out of the 07 model year F-150. It'll essentially be a 2-month production discussion, and it's a critical meeting for all of us. As Dave said, we have a 35% share on full-size truck, and getting enough inventory and getting the right units on the ground is the way we're going to defend that share. Okay? Now that kind of we're aware of what products are coming, what you need to make sure that everyone in your store that's ordering vehicles is aware of is what package discounts are available. And you're familiar with many of these, but I want to make sure that everyone is aware of the amount of money that's at stake by ordering the right vehicle lines. On F-150, everyone is aware from the Truck Month advertising, the second quarter advertising, about our Texas Okie Edition. It's the chrome vehicle. It's available on XLT. Essentially, it's going to be about 40% of our mix, and it's a $1,000 discount. And it's real money, and we're going to advertise the heck out of it. Same thing with the 4.6 Super Crew. This is the entry that the dealers asked for to compete with the new Silverado's WT crew cab and to compete at a price point level. And what have we done? We previously allowed 32% of our F-150 business to be this 4.6 Super Crew discount. We're up to 38% of the business now. So it's a really important offering for us to be competitive with our neighbors in the full-size pickup market. The other item I'd like to bring up is the Texas Okie Edition Expedition. As you know, for 2007, we introduced the first regional program like this of any full-size SUV. And essentially, the Texas Okie Edition, as you know, is the dark shadow gray fascia wheel lip moldings and body side cladding, along with the 18-inch machined aluminum wheels. And it's a $795 discount. The vehicle looks great, and we want to make sure you're ordering it at a aggressive rate. Currently, 85% of XLT, which is great. And then we have some national packages like Escape, Sun and Sat, as well as the Focus safety package. Well, once we have the right products built and the right products ordered for your store, one of the things we have to make sure we're all focused on is how we manage our inventory. Now, the truth is most of our dealers have been optimizing their inventory at frankly a much more efficient manner than we have here in the company. But we're now going to work like crazy to be partners in this effort. We're going to provide data. We're going to provide tools so that we can manage our inventory and optimize what you have on your lots and frankly what you're paying for in your books already. This slide is just an example of the type of data we're looking at on a regular basis. So what I'd like you to look at is the first line. It's Focus. We'll just use it as an example. Focus, essentially, we're currently sitting on a stock of 1,944 units, which you see in the top line about halfway over. Of those units, a stock level of 3,300 units, of which 1,900 are over 120 days old. What that means is we essentially have almost 60% of our Focus stock that's more than 4 months old. Not good for dealers, not good for us, and something we want to attack very aggressively. So you see at the bottom of the page, what are those actions we need to take? We want to use the fast turn report data, which our zone managers have and are going to be reviewing with you on a regular basis. We want you to put sales consultant incentive plans in place so that we can drive those aged inventory units off your showroom and into customers' garages. And finally, and fundamentally, we need to merchandise and retail those units differently. If we don't do something different with the 4-month-old product at the back of the lot, we're going to continue getting the same results. So the message is just this. You guys have already been working on it, and now we're coming to the table, and we're going to participate like crazy in helping you manage your aged inventory. Okay? And finally, I think that's the segue that I'd like to take in terms of what are your zone manager partner actions? What are their priorities for the second quarter? First and foremost, I guess you can bucket them into 3 categories. It's about retail, it's about inventory, and it's about dealer profits. Those are the 3 reasons our guys get out of bed in the morning. Well, I suppose they have other important priorities, but it's why they come to work every day and what we're trying to do for you. First and foremost, retail actions. All of our main dealers and many of our target dealers in your market put together retail action plans in March. And then late in the month, we put together Super Duty calls to action. What we're asking our zone managers to do here in April is do a post-mortem on those actions. Do an analysis that says what worked, what didn't, and let's turn up the heat on the things that worked, and let's back off and come up with new ideas on the things that didn't. The existing plans are there. They're great plans. Let's tweak them to make sure they're working in March. The second thing is all that Michelle shared with you on second quarter marketing programs. We're going to make sure our zone managers are reviewing them with dealer principals and sales managers to make sure we're all saying the same thing and that we're promoting the same products at the retail level. Promotions and programs. We got a whole bunch of different dealer programs out there, from the Alaska Fishing Challenge to the second quarter sales drive, which Dave mentioned earlier. You're going to get regular updates so you know where you stand, you know what kind of money is at stake, and our zone managers are going to work with you like crazy to make sure we optimize your earnings. Advertisements. Our zone managers have been tasked with also making sure they're reviewing the weekend papers, the internet flash ads, banners, things of that nature, to make sure you know what are your competitors doing, both other Ford stores, but also all of our competing brands, so that you feel comfortable that you're going to market as appropriate. And again, we want to work with you to figure out what is that message that's going to jump off the page of a newspaper, or what is that image that's going to be so compelling that it actually drives traffic into your showroom. Walkarounds. As you know, our zone managers have been tasked with making sure in each one of your stores there's at least one walkaround per quarter, and that is still their marching orders. And finally, on retail, Consumer Track. We've got a couple of really key Consumer Track offers, high priority offers, that are currently live in the Consumer Track system. They include the Edge private offer, and they include the Super Duty owner loyalty and appreciations. And we're going to make sure zone managers are discussing those with you as well. And finally, the zone manager's activities with respect to inventory actions as well as dealer profitability. The 60-day Ford product campaigns are critical. Michelle and Dave had mentioned it. It's how we're going to go to market. We need to make sure you have the right inventory to support those programs. And finally, as we discussed previously, the fast turn reports and aged inventory reports. We're going to be talking to you about this regularly so we can ensure that we transact those vehicles and get them into customers' garages. And finally, profitability. Be it 1984 forms, be it 6-page documents where you get to benchmark yourselves against your peers. We're going to make sure our zone managers are continually talking to you about profitability, because frankly, when you win, we win, and vice versa. And we want to make sure that everyone has as much information as possible in terms of making the most money for your dealerships. And so with that, I'd like to turn it back to Dave Mondragon, our regional sales manager.
Thanks, Mike. Great job. Great to have you on board. You know, I want to start off by saying Mike just went through a litany of things that we're doing and our zone managers are going to be doing, but I think it's important to stay very clear in terms of our direction with our field. You know, our role in calling on our dealers is to give you the tools and the resources that you need to help grow your business profitably and establish strength in the marketplace and hold and dominate our share of market in the trade areas that you represent. Our role is really not to come in and tell you how to run your business. And that's not anything that I've ever professed or I've ever done with dealers, and I don't think anybody in our team is going to try to do that. We're not going to tell you we know how to sell cars better than you or we know how to market better than you. But our role is clearly to help open your eyes to some of the competitive things that are happening in the market, open your eyes to some of the benchmarking that's happening in the market, and then to help you with some tools and resources that show you vehicles that are turning faster than others, help you with your inventory, help you with your advertising with regard to what's working in the marketplace, what's not working in the marketplace, what are the competitive price points, what are other dealers doing, and what's the competition doing as well. So for us to continue to feed with that. And then of vital importance, our role is to help train your people on the product, show you the features and benefits and the why buys, and then to show what's happening on a financial front for your store, and then what other dealers are your size, how they're performing with regard to grosses, with regard to F&I profits, with regard to floor planning, all those kind of things that can help stabilize and strengthen your business. So our role, again, going forward, is to embrace these retail actions and to help drive your business to be more profitable and more successful. And I think Mike and his team have laid out a great plan to help do that. You know, we talked about dealer cash, and we know that's a huge issue for this region because we perform so well with dealer cash. Let me just tell you, I said it before, but we have a huge dealer cash program this quarter. I just added it up, and basically we have a $14 million dealer cash program going on today. The sales challenge, I said earlier, is worth a $10 million payout to our dealers. That's 60% of our volume, or $400 per unit if you get to the top end. The RCL, flat pay at $300 a unit, that's worth a couple $1 million for our dealers. If we run at 15%, let's call it conservative, 15% banged against sales of 53,000 units in the quarter, we've got a substantial payout, and you have the opportunity to get a substantial payout. And the sales consultants, the sales managers, and the F&I managers also get a little something in their pocket for delivering some RCL sales. Most importantly, you get 2 times the business with an RCL because your trade cycle is twice as much as a 60 or 72-month retail finance contract. And finally, the flat pay on a 500 or freestyle, the $1,000 on the first unit, 2 Gs on the second unit, and 3 Gs on the third unit. That, if you've got 5 units in stock and you sell them all this month, that's 12 grand. If you got 10 units, that's 27 grand. Heck, if you got 35 units, that's 100 grand if you can dump those units this month. But that's another $2 million in payout for our dealers in this region. So you total that all up, that's $14 million that we have on the table today. So I do feel like we've got some great leverage in the market from a dealer cash position, from a sales consultant spin position, and then also a very strong retail program that Michelle has delivered for you as well. So with that, I'd like to end on a couple of things. First, you know, I played sports, not very good, but I did play sports. And when I was in the weight room, we had a few things on the wall, and these were things that keep you focused. And the first one, it said that first saying that we had on the wall was, "You can't make the club in the tub." Now, I really didn't understand that too much back then, but now it's come, you know, through age has come wisdom. I think it meant that you can't be in the tub floating around with bubbles and expect to get the job done. You got to be out there getting it done, getting a little dirty. The second one that was on the wall is go big or go home, and that's a motto that we've had for a while. That's all about Southwest. It's all about Texas and Oklahoma, and that's all about the plan that we've delivered as well. We're going to go big or we're going to go home, and we're going to make our mark in this market, and we're not going to give an inch to the competition. So let me close out by the third saying that was on the wall, and these were workout rules to live by. The first workout rule to live by was the first day you miss a workout, only you know. The second day you miss a workout, your opponent knows. And the third day you miss a workout, the fans know. So you might as well go home. Well, look, our opponent is Chevrolet, it's Toyota, and it's Dodge. Our fans are our customers, and most importantly, your fans are your family. And we've got to put the business in place, put the tools in place, and do the training in place. But most importantly, we've got to deliver on our sales objectives for the quarter to make everyone happy. And that's all we want. We just want to be happy, right? Let's make a whole lot of money. Let's make a lot of people happy. And let's do a great job in the second quarter. So thank you for tuning in. And thanks, team, for your support. Let's have a great quarter. Welcome to the Southwest Region's second quarter go-to-market strategy, and this is our annual or quarterly, let me just say quarterly Ford Star presentation that we've been doing, and we've been doing this for about a year, and it's a great chance for us to communicate to you, our dealers and your managers and your sales consultants, what is our strategy and what is our plan for the quarter. We've got a great plan laid out, and we want to communicate that today. To my right, I've got Alan Taylor from Ford Credit. Alan, welcome.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for being here. To my left, I have Michelle Bartlett, who's our regional marketing manager. Michelle, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks, Dave.
And to the left of Michelle, we have Mike O'Brien, our general zone manager. Mike, good to have you here.
Great, thanks, Dave.
All right, so that's the team. Everyone's all buttoned up and everyone's got jackets on. You know, they say that you dress for the job that you want, and I guess everybody wants my job because I don't have a jacket on. So let them have it. Here we go. Southwest region, big 6 priorities for 2007. Let's talk about that. What are our key goals and objectives? Well, first, 23,000 cars and trucks for Lincoln Mercury. And that's up versus 21.5 last year, so that's a healthy gain. The share target is 1.8. We were at 1.7 last year, so that's a 1/10 of a point better in terms of our share. We want to improve our dealer profitability. It wasn't a good year for us last year. We need to strengthen that and get our dealers into the black this year in terms of profit. We need to grow our leasing to 30%, and there's a lot of upside to that, and we need to get more focused on that, and I'm glad we've got Alan here today to help us with that. Integrate our Be Big events, which we do very well at Tier 3. And then bold leadership with regard to our activation of our events and our sponsorship and the launching of our new products. So what happened in the first quarter? Well, first and foremost, we delivered close to 4,600 units. And that's pretty close to being on par with last year, although it was down. Wasn't down very much. We were down 146 units in total in the first quarter. And when you think about that, we actually sold last year 400 Aviators and LSs combined that we didn't have to sell this year. So our decline of 146 units is made up 3 times with those units that are just gone from discontinued vehicles. So that means that our new vehicles are performing very well, and our SUVs continue to perform very well. So that shows some real strength in the market going forward. Our share target in the first quarter was, our goal is 1.8. We were at 1.7. That 1.7 is exactly where we were last year, so we didn't have any decline. We have upside, though, as we go through the rest of this year, and we will gain that extra tenth of a point. Dealer profitability in February, it was $413,000, and this is for our contact dealers for Lincoln Mercury, our supervised dealers. Year to date, we're down $234,000, but believe it or not, that's $1.3 million to the good on a year-over-year basis. Last year through February, we were down over $1.5 million. So that's a real big turnaround story for us in total. And I think when we add up March and April profits, because March was a very good month and April is turning out to be a very good month for us, we will get our dealerships into a profitable position on a year-over-year basis. It'll be the first time in a few years we've seen that, so we're very excited about seeing that growth. Leasing, we're currently at 18%. I said our goal is 30%, and Alan's going to take us through what we need to do to get to the next step on that. First quarter retail sales trend, well, we were up 10% between January and February. The nation was flat, so we did 10% better than the nation with regard to our growth. And then when we went from February to March, we were up 43%. 43% in terms of our sales jump. The nation was up 39%, so we were 4 points better than the nation. So bottom line is we made huge jumps in terms of our sales every month in the first quarter, and we exceeded the performance of the nation in every one of those big jumps. What are our key objectives for the quarter? Well, we need to sell 5,000 units in the second quarter, and that's up 4% year over year. In April, we need to do 1,800 units, and then May and June we're slated at 16 and 16. And the reason why those are a little less is because we're finishing our signature sales event, and we think that the momentum of that event will really continue to drive sales, and we're on target right now to exceed the 1,800 units in the month of April. So I feel real good about our performance and our track so far this month. We need to achieve our share target. If we deliver these sales, we will pick up a tenth of share, and that'll take us to a 1.8 share for the year to date at the end of the second quarter, and that's exactly what our yearly target is for 2007. Dealer profitability, well, we got the sales drive incentive, and that equates to about a $500,000 payout for our dealers, so a substantial lot of money. And if we have that money in the coffin, it'll clear out our year-to-date deficit right now. And if we had it today, it would put us into a profit position. So we're banking on the fact that you're going to earn that, and we're banking on the fact that that, included with your other profitability, will put us in a very positive position as we round the second quarter. Growing leasing, I've talked enough about that, and I will wait for any more comments for Alan to talk about that. Next, I'd like to turn it over to Michelle, and Michelle will take us through our go-to-market strategy and what we're going to do with incentives and advertising in the second quarter.
Well, thanks, Dave. Let's talk about April, which is the second month of a very successful signature sales event in the Southwest region. Obviously, our strategy is to leverage the signature sales events, advertising, and incentives to sell 1,800 combined cars and trucks, but we'd be willing to sell more. National media spend, $19 million has been spent over the 2-month period, March and April. That includes the national cable buy at $6.4 million. From a regional perspective for the month of April, we're spending $2.2 million in Tier 2. Key incentives, as all of you know, sign and drive on all Lincoln Mercury vehicles. That's 0 down, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month's payment. Doesn't get much better than that. Featured vehicles here in the Southwest region, we're running Milan at $256 a month, running MKZ at $386 per month, Mark LT at $559 per month, and Navigator at $599 per month. Now remember, we have full tax credits on Navigator and Mark LT, which lowers the payment around $70 a month, and we are going to start advertising those lower payments now. Next slide is April incentive highlights, and I won't take you through the whole chart, but obviously big customer cash levels continue on Grand Marquis and Town Car, and we just announced a progressive dealer cash program on Montego. 1 unit will get you $1,000, 2 units, $2,000, 3+ units, $3,000 a unit. So this is big money. And please remember, those of you in the LMCRS business, those units are eligible as counters and payers, as well as X-Plan counters and payers in this program. All right, let's take a sneak peek at the May-June event. That goes May 1st through July 2nd, and it is the Sirius Satellite promotion. Our strategy is to leverage Sirius Satellite radio promo, advertising, and incentives to sell 3,600 combined cars and trucks. The national media spend is $19 million spent over the 2-month period. Our regional Tier 2 media spend is $1 million. Clearly, between the nation as well as the region, we will have a constant, consistent, and integrated presence over the entire program period. The featured vehicles, all Mercury excluding Grand Marquis. The key planned incentives is a no-charge satellite radio with a 3-year subscription offer. That equates to $195 in open bonus cash on all units, plus $310 for the Sirius subscription. Exclusive to the Southwest, we have a planned escalation of $500 customer cash on Montego and Mountaineer in May and June. Backed by popular demand, we are very pleased to announce the 2nd year of our Sales Top Achiever Recognition Program. You might better know it as the STAR program. The program period runs January 3rd of this year through January 2nd of 2008. The criteria you see here on the screen, there will be one STAR sales consultant per dealership. For our top 25 volume dealerships, you will be able to nominate 2 sales consultants. And of course, we already are planning our upscale recognition event in February of next year, which we were pleased to host this year a couple of months ago at the Gaylord Texan. So before I turn it back over to Dave, let's watch a clip of this fabulous event in February.
One, two, and wait, hang on a second. 1, 2, and 3. Look up here at me. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 2, and 3. Pretty nice. Step around the outside.
For me, perfect right there, perfect right here.
Camera shows me double.
There you go. Ain't pretty good?
I'm from San Antonio, Texas. My husband works for Southway Ford, and we are having a blast.
This is my fiance, Kimberly. See, Brandon, this could have been you. This could have
It
been
could
you.
have been you, but it wasn't.
Absorb that one.
Is he winning?
He won. It's on the video, right?
I'm gonna win both.
Cash in
Well, good luck. I hope you do win.
We're winners. We're gonna go try to win something.
Okay.
Be taking it home with the motorcycle number 2. We have number 292, 852, 292, 85. Woohoo! We got a Harley winner over here. Take it away, fellas.
Well, it started off right, this big and night. Deep in the heart of Texas. Everybody gonna be driving.
Great job, Michelle. That was a great event. The sales consultants loved it. I got a lot of notes from dealers and sales consultants throughout the region, and it's a great opportunity for us to recognize the people that are on the front line for Ford Motor Company and representing the Lincoln Mercury brand to our consumers. So thank you all, congratulations, and good luck for next year. Now I'd like to turn it over to Alan Taylor from Ford Credit, who will take us through some of the marketing plans for Ford Credit and how we're going to integrate ourselves and drive those sales, and most importantly, increase our share of RCL up to 30%. So Alan?
Thank you, Dave. Good morning, everybody. We're counting on a huge second quarter at Ford Credit in the Southwest market, and really what we want to do is build upon the momentum that we realized in the first quarter. And we did that in the first quarter by not taking full advantage of the lease programs that are out there. We finished at an 18% lease mix in the Southwest market in the first quarter, which was about 20 points worse than the nation, with some very strong RCL C&I programs out there. So in the second quarter, we want to get to our objectives in a number of ways. First and foremost, we want to continue to push the envelope on red carpet leasing. We want to be at a 30% lease mix on the Lincoln Mercury side by year-end '07. And with an 18% number in the first quarter, we've got a lot of ground to make up in the second quarter. We've got some very aggressive red carpet lease programs out there in the second quarter. And at every Lincoln Mercury meeting that I'm in, Lincoln Mercury dealers ask for aggressive lease programs, and once again, the divisions have delivered. So a 30% lease mix at Lincoln Mercury, 1 in 3 sales we want on a lease contract, and we should be able to deliver on our numbers in the second quarter. Benefits of leasing, you should know these very well by now. Customer loyalty, first and foremost. 80% of our customers that enter into a lease contract return to Ford Motor Company on their subsequent purchase versus 56% on a retail contract. And that 24-point gap is huge in terms of corporate profitability and dealership profitability, as it's much cheaper to retain your existing customers versus going out and capturing conquest customers from other makes and models. Shorter trade cycles. Our lease customers are going to return to us in 24 to 36 months, sometimes 39 months depending on the program. They'll return to us with no inequity, so we won't have to worry about customers being upside down on their trade. F&I profit is a well-kept secret on red carpet lease. The F&I department can mark up an APR on a lease 2.5 points versus a retail where you earn a small flat. So there is a significant F&I profit opportunity on a red carpet lease contract. Gap coverage is built in. You don't have to sell gap coverage to the customer. It's a built-in benefit of leasing. Wear care is a profit opportunity in the F&I department. We're doing a great job in this region on wear care. We're running at about a 50% mix of wear care contracts on red carpet leases. As far as training goes, the feedback that I've gotten from the branches and the territory sales managers is that our Lincoln Mercury dealers are well equipped to lease, are well trained on leasing, and that they've got all the system requirements to lease. If you feel like you've got some gaps in your training or you've got some new personnel in your dealership that need to be trained, please contact your dealer account manager, and we'll get out there and do some one-on-one training immediately. Another product that we've got great momentum on in the South Central region is FlexBuy. This region accounted for 40% of the nation's FlexBuy volume in the month of March alone. We've got pockets of dealers throughout the Southwest market that have really gotten on board with FlexBuy, and it's meant incremental sales and incremental volume for Ford Credit. 801 FlexBuy contracts was the number we posted in March, which was an all-time record for the Southwest market. The benefits of FlexBuy include a lower initial payment. It's about 15% less than a standard 60-month payment, and I'll run through some payment comparisons in a second. Through month 36, and the payments increase to a normal 60-month payment in month 37. The competitive advantage is that no other captive finance company has this type of product. It's an uneven retail payment product. No other captive finance company has this type of product. GMAC doesn't have it, and Toyota doesn't have it. So it is a competitive advantage for Ford dealers and Ford Motor Company and Ford Credit. It is a retail contract. The customer's name's on the title. There's no balloon. There's no termination process. There's no residual value. And then we're also treating at the corporate level this product as a trade cycle product. Our CRM team in Detroit begins at about month 30 on a FlexBuy with targeted invoice messaging, reminding the customer that their payments are going to increase at month 37 and encouraging that customer to get back into your dealership and trade that vehicle prior to the payments increasing. So we are treating FlexBuy as a trade cycle product on the marketing front. Again, if you need training on FlexBuy or red carpet lease, our DAMs are at your disposal, and please contact us if you have any gaps, and we'll get out there and train you immediately. The final slide that I've got is a simple payment comparison between a 60-month retail, a FlexBuy contract, and a 39-month lease based upon the second quarter C&I programs on some of our key products. On Navigator, for example, on a 60-month retail, we're at over an $800 payment, and we're at $592 on a lease, so we're going to advertise a $599 payment. FlexBuy is at $712 a month, so that's about a 15% decrease over a 60-month payment. It's the same message throughout our key products. We're at $466 on an MKX versus $633 on a retail, under $400 a month on an MKZ. And then on Mariner, we've actually got an advantage on FlexBuy this quarter at $271 a month on a 66-month FlexBuy versus $311 on a red carpet lease. And then on Milan, we've got another great lease program on Milan at about a $260 payment a month. So with that, thank you for your business and thank you for your support in the first quarter, and let's continue the momentum into the second.
Alan, great job. And I can't thank Ford Credit and the entire Ford Credit team enough for the great job they did for us in the first quarter. And they're the key to our success, especially with Lincoln Mercury. We are very dependent on the leasing, and we've got to grow our leasing up to 30%. And we can't do it without our friends at the credit company. So they've done a great job delivering the tax credits when we need, delivering the programs that we need, and also getting their team's energy behind growing our business profitably. With RCO, now transitioning to RCL, and including a brand new property which is FlexBuy for us at the retail level. These properties will help grow our business substantially, and we thank the credit company for helping deliver those. Now I want to turn it over to Mike to take us through our production strategy for the second quarter. Mike?
Okay, great. Thanks, Dave. The title of this category is actually production, but I'd like to talk about 3 Ps: the product, production, as well as partnership, and that is your zone manager partners from our Lincoln Mercury operation. Let's start with talking about product. Your focus vehicles for 2007. I think many of you are familiar with those vehicles that we're considering focus vehicles. What I'd like to do is just reiterate why they are focus vehicles and what that means to us. First and foremost, these vehicles are essentially brand builders, they're traffic builders, and for both of us, they're profit drivers. And it's why we've selected the vehicles that we've identified as focus vehicles. And what does that mean? It essentially means that's where we're going to focus our resource. And our resources in advertising, our resources in incentives, as well as our priorities in terms of production. And that's why these vehicles are critical. As you see on the slide, there's essentially 5 nameplates there. The first 4 are our national focus vehicles: MKX, MKZ, Milan, and Mariner. We've actually added a regional focus vehicle or pair of focus vehicles, and that is Navigator and Mark LT. And what you find is these vehicles represent about 2/3 of our business currently in the Southwest market. The great news is we're off to a really good start on our focus vehicles here in 07. MKX is new. We've already sold almost 600 units. Milan is up 5% for the year. Mariner is up 10% for the year. And Navigator, while off a bit, is a great opportunity for us to kind of supercharge and catalyst our efforts here in the end of the signature sales event here in April. The only other thing I'll say about these focus vehicles for Lincoln Mercury is when you look at these 5 products, it is a wonderful hedge against segment shifts and market risks. So we've got small utilities and big utilities. We've got mid-sized sedans and we've got crossovers. It's a fantastic way for Lincoln Mercury to go to market in terms of different segment offerings. Okay? The next slide is essentially production. Last week, our zone managers were with you and essentially finished our April wholesale. And the April wholesale essentially was for our May production. And importantly, though, there were several products that were not just May production, they were balance out of the 07 model year. And you see the vehicles there. Navigator, Mountaineer, Milan, and MKZ all balanced out for the year in that last wholesale. Now, the great news is that means we're getting 08 model year product quicker. We've balanced out of the 07, and the 08 models are going to start in June and July, which is a head start on the competition. And frankly, for us, that's great news because we've got things coming like Sync. Sync, which is our hands-free Bluetooth communication system in our vehicles, and you're going to see it on Mountaineer at the end of the summer, and you're going to see it on a number of Lincoln Mercury products in the 08 model year. So a lot of really good things to look forward to on the 08s. In our May wholesale, which we'll come in and start with you at the end of April, we're going to be covering June production. And most importantly for Lincoln Mercury, it's Mark LT. So we're going to be coming to you for a balance out number on Mark LT in about a month's time or at the end of April. Okay? There's 2 very important package discounts when we talk about product here in the Southwest. And as the slide suggests, these are exclusive products to this market. There isn't another region in the country that has the advantage of these 2 package discounts. We essentially have the Cantera edition of Navigator and the Cantera edition of the Mark LT. And you're all familiar with the Mark LT, which we launched back in the summer of 06. But the Navigator we've launched here in the first quarter of 07 for the first time. And everybody hopefully is very familiar with these products. Essentially what Cantera is on Navigator, it's the body color grille, it's the body color body side cladding, it's the body color mirror caps, as well as the 20-inch 7-spoke chrome wheels. The beauty of this package is It's all the power and prestige and specialness of Navigator, but we kind of offer a more subtle exterior appearance, which is actually very appealing to a lot of folks, and we actually think this is going to be about 50% of the Navigator business. The great news about this is it's a $1,000 customer discount, MSRP discount, and the package can be had for $1,265. And you're familiar with Mark LT. It's a great way to have another offering for customers and enhance the value equation. Okay? Next, I'd like to kind of talk about those vehicles that you already have on your showroom. They're already in your lots, and frankly, they're already on your books. And I guess what I would say is most dealers have been really proactive at managing their inventories efficiently. What we'd like to do is act as partners and come to the table with some tools, come to the table with some data that helps you manage your inventory more efficiently. This slide just shows kind of some of the data that we are working with on a regular basis. The table you see, it's a snapshot of our inventory levels currently here in the Southwest region. So let's just take the first product as an example, the MKZ or Zephyr. The Zephyr, we currently have just under 700 units in stock, which you see on the fifth column over on the top line, which is Zephyr. Of those, 244 are older than 120 days on your lot. So essentially, about 35% of our Zephyr business, our MKZ business, is what we can characterize as overaged inventory. What we want to work with you in terms of doing is the actions listed at the bottom. We want to help you attack those overaged inventory units so they don't get another month birthday on your lot. And so that essentially we can get these units that we're paying floor plan for and get them off into customers' garages. So what do we want to do? We want to share with you our fast turn reports so that when you're ordering new vehicles, you know what features and options are moving in the marketplace. We want you to help us by creating incentive plans to help move these aged units. And finally, and frankly, fundamentally, we have to figure out how to merchandise those units differently. We have to retail them differently. We have to treat them differently, or they're going to age on our lots. Or they're going to continue to age in the lots much as they have for these 120 days. The great news for Lincoln Mercury is, and you see it in the boxed row at the bottom of this slide, is we actually here in the Southwest region, only 34% of our business is over 120 days old. The nation is almost 40%. So here in Southwest, the guys are doing a great job at keeping that number low and keeping the inventory turning as fast as possible. The only other item that I'd mention that's not on this slide is Montego. We're here in the middle of April, and we know we've got a task on Montego. We've got about 600 units here in the region, and about 60% of them are over 120 days old. So you're going to hear a lot about programs we're going to have, progressive stair steps, and other actions to help you move those Montegos. Okay? So with that, I'd just like to summarize and let you know what the marching orders are, what the priorities are for your zone manager partners. And they really are partners. We're asking these guys to help give you the enablers to do your jobs. And there's really three buckets of areas. It's about retail, it's about inventories, and it's about dealer profits. From a retail perspective, we're asking our zone managers to work with you on developing and tracking retail action plans. Things like, how do we stimulate Navigator sales to ensure we grow over last year? Things like, how do we get new customers into the MKX, which is getting such rave reviews, and everybody that's in it is really feeling positive. How do we get more people onto your showroom floors? And what action plan items can we take? And our zone managers are going to work with you on those items. Next is the second quarter marketing plans that Michelle took you through. We want to make sure our zone managers are sharing with you on a regular basis next steps in terms of creative and in terms of buy and all the stuff that Michelle and her team are implementing at a Tier 2 level and helping support you at Tier 3. Promotions and programs. We've got a number of different incentives out there for you as dealers to help maximize your earnings, and they include things like our Alaska fishing trip. They include the second quarter sales drive, which Dave has referred to in this broadcast, and we're going to make sure our zone managers are always sharing with you what is that optimized earnings level and how can they help you get there. Advertising. We want to make sure that our zone managers are just working with you and understanding what your plans are in terms of advertising. What is the message you're trying to communicate? What is compelling about your ads that you stand out from the rest in the weekend paper? Walk-arounds. Product knowledge is something we've tasked our zone managers with significantly, and we want to make sure they're able to share with your sales teams in walk-around format and in terms of enhancing their training. And we're going to do that every store once per quarter. And you can hold us to that and our zone managers to that. And finally, Consumer Track. We want to make sure that our zone managers are talking with you about the opportunities in terms of these targeted direct mail campaigns. And for Lincoln Mercury, we're about to launch the Lincoln Launch Phase 2 private offer through Consumer Track. There's an existing Mariner private offer. These are great opportunities. These mailing lists have been scrubbed. These are owners, they're intenders, they're bought new, not retained, folks that used to buy us and haven't bought us recently. These are very targeted lists and they're worth us using. Okay? In terms of inventory action, again, I mentioned it earlier, but our zone managers are going to work with you in terms of giving you some tools and data to enhance your inventory management. First and foremost, Michelle and her team are working on the campaigns, the 60-day sales events. We want to make sure you have the right inventory to support those. Next, we have fast turn reports and overage inventory reports that we want to review with you on a regular basis so you know what's moving in your local market, what are some different tweaks you could do to your inventory levels to minimize some of those overaged units. And finally, dealer profitability. This is it's an objective for our zone managers, just as it's an objective for Dave and Michelle and the leadership team here. We want to make sure that our zone managers are sharing with you benchmarks when they're discussing your 1984s and benchmarks when you're looking at your 6-page profitability statements. And the idea is just to make sure we're sharing as much information so you know how to optimize your business as best as possible. And it's important to us, and we know it's important to you. So with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Dave for the conclusion.
Thanks, Mike. You and the team are doing a great job making a true difference at the retail level in our showrooms, so thank you. I guess in summary, you've heard from our whole team, and I am excited about the second quarter. We've got great momentum coming out of the first quarter. The Signature Sales event is a home run, and we're going to deliver some great sales results for the region and great profitability results for you. And then we'll transition to our next Be Big event in May and June, and Michelle's laid out a great plan for that as well. So bottom line is we are excited because we have a plan. We're going to work the plan together, and working together we will deliver positive sales results, positive share results, and positive profit results for you and for Ford Motor Company. So let's get going and let's have a great second quarter. Thank you for your time. Great job, guys.